The GFWAR schedule of fines and penalties. The items below are fines and penalties for violations of the indicated sections of the MLS Rules and Regulations. In the event of an MLS violation, the agent and broker will be notified by fax, phone, or email. The agent or broker will have 24 hours to respond, either admitting the violation or denying the violation. In the event a broker admits a violation, he or she shall either confirm that the violation has been corrected, waive a hearing before the MLS committee, and agree to pay the assessed fine within 10 days after the receipt of the invoice, or request a hearing before the MLS committee on the alleged violation. All appeals of fines must be made within 10 days and are made to the MLS committee, and appeals of the MLS committee decisions are to the board of directors. In the event an MLS fine is assessed, these fines will be added to the agent's account. Please note that fines will be assessed and tracked per agent, per section violation, per calendar year. Failure to respond to notices is equivalent to admitting guilt, and fines will be assessed accordingly. Anyone with unpaid fines will not be allowed to renew MLS dues without paying the fine first. As set forth in the MLS Rules and Regulations, each participant or broker shall be responsible for any actions in the violation of the rules committed by any agent or other person under the sponsorship of such broker. A broker shall be subject to disciplinary sanctions of any agent or other person who violates the rules in the same manner as if the broker violates the rule him or herself. So this is basically outlining the time frame in which the broker and agent have to respond to either admit guilt and make the correction, or to appeal to the committee. In either case, they have 10 days. When a fine is assessed, it is assessed to the agent. However, the broker is ultimately responsible for making sure that it is resolved and paid. So I'll just go through the rules and identify what the fine assessment is and the time to correct. 6.06, an unreported subscriber. This is when a broker has an agent who is not paying MLS fees. The basic amount of assessments are going to be the same unless I identify differently as we go through the rules. So the basic assessment is for the first offense, $50. The second offense is $100, plus they must attend 1 hour of MLS Rules at orientation. The third offense is $500 plus $50 per day, and they must appear before the MLS committee. And further offenses may result in suspension of MLS services, and those are referred to the MLS committee as well. The time to correct for having an unreported subscriber is 24 hours. Moving down, 7.05, listing must be submitted into the MLS within 72 hours from the effective date. The same assessment applies. The time to correct is none, as we talked about earlier in the session. This is one of the violations where there is no time to correct. It is an automatic fine. 7.06, a duplicate listing. 7.06, duplicate listing. This is when you've entered a listing in the system twice, and that is a violation, and you have 24 hours to correct. 7.09, unauthorized use of advertising a listed property. This is when you've included a property in your advertising and do not have authorization from the listing broker to advertise that property. So the correction time on that is 24 hours. Incorrect listing information. This could be anything from the list price to anything in the listing. It could be the number of rooms, it could be the measurements, it could be anything that has to do with the listing information. The time to correct is 24 hours. 7.11, failure to extend the listing within 72 hours of expiration. That's pretty self-explanatory. You've just not extended the listing within the given time. The time to correct is 24 hours. 7.12, failure to report additional information. This could be a price change, a new loan commitment, etc. Anything that You have been asked by the seller to change within the listing, and it has not been done within the 72 hours. The time to correct is 24 hours. 7.14, disclosure of lockbox or security information. We did talk about this earlier. Do not ever disclose the lockbox combination, a security code, or any of that information in the listing. The time to correct on that is 24 hours. 7.16, incorrect listing price. This is when you've intentionally listed the wrong list price. The time to correct on that is 24 hours. Withdrawing or canceling a listing with the intent to conceal the sales price during the listing period. There is no time to correct on this. It is an automatic fine. So if you are caught canceling or withdrawing the listing or allowing it to expire instead of reporting it as sold, this will apply to you. The 7.27, media contains text, personal advertising, or personal promotion of a subscriber or participant. Also pertains to unauthorized use of media. So you've added your photo or your phone number or any of that personal information into your advertising, into your photos, into your virtual tour. That's what this is referring to. And you have a 24-hour correction time period. 7.28, incorrect public remarks, property description, picture description, and driving directions. So you've entered a name, a phone number, an email address, some personal information into one of these fields. The time to correct is 24 hours. 8.08, failure to report status changes within 72 hours. So you've not reported a option period or a pending contract. You have 72 hours, and the time to correct on that is 24 hours as well. 8.09, failure to report pending contracts, closing, or fully executed lease within 72 hours. So this is basically you've not reported the property as sold. 24 hours is the time to correct as well. Any additional offenses beyond what's stated in this fines and penalties schedule will be addressed by the MLS committee. Violations of MLS rules and regulations not covered by this document will be reviewed by the MLS committee. Sanctions are determined by the MLS committee as they review each case. After the third finable offense, the broker and/or agent will be called before the MLS committee for further sanction or discipline. All fines are due 10 days after the invoice date. MLS dues and services will not be renewed for anyone with outstanding fines. Violations of MLS rules and regulations not covered by this document will be reviewed by the MLS committee, and sanctions will be determined accordingly and will be progressive at the discretion of the MLS committee. Again, you can print a copy of the complete MLS rules and regulations at netrust.net under resources and forms and documents.